What did you see happening there down the stretch? Was it maybe a case of your guys wearing out a little bit after playing so hard for so long?
Felt like a couple of offensive rebounds for them turned into threes. I think Edwards had one out of the corner. Reed, there was a big sequence where Jimmy had a shot at the rim. Looked like he was going to convert it. Looked like he might have gotten fouled, but then they went the other way, got an offensive board, and Reed hit the three from the corner. I thought that was the sequence that really shifted the game and the momentum. So 13 offensive boards for them, 26 points. That was a big factor in the fourth.
Draymond's 6 fouls obviously played a major factor, and I think 2 of them were challenged, one by you, one by them, and then obviously the 6-1 late. What did you see there? Just what did you think of his game overall?
Yeah, we felt pretty strongly that the one on the I think it was his fourth on the block. They called the block. It looked like Randall went through his chest, and so we felt pretty good about challenging it. Plus, it was his fourth. But obviously, we didn't get the call, and that's part of the game. But Randall was great, and the foul trouble, and the 6-1 was a tough one. That didn't feel great looking at the replay, but it is what it is, and they outplayed us in the fourth, and they deserve to win.
How would you describe Jimmy Butler's play tonight? He said if he needs to go score 40, he might be able to do it. Did you see him carrying an extra load in this, and what it was like watching?
Jimmy was incredible. I mean, he really controlled the game for us, and put us in a position to win, and we just couldn't close it out. But he was brilliant all night.
Did JK figure something out last game? Obviously tonight he's got 30 points.
I'm sorry?
Jonathan Kuminga, just what do you think of his performance tonight?
Oh, he was brilliant. JK played one of the best games of his life. It was fantastic to see, and you can see how necessary he is in this matchup, especially without Steph. We're having a tough time getting free, and he's obviously capable of giving us some points, getting to the rim, and I thought he was fantastic. I've said it a couple times to you guys. I've just been impressed with the way he's handled things the last couple of weeks, with the way he's stayed ready and put in the work, and it paid off tonight.
We know Brandon.
JK with the playoff career-high 30-burger there for the Golden State Warriors. And we were trying to figure out how are the Warriors in this basketball game, because in the first half, the offense looked clunky, and we're being kind here. But they did end the quarters, the first and second, on a high note there, especially in the first quarter, down 21-12. The ball wasn't moving. I heard Fezzi Phil say, what is this? It's sticking too much. But they end the first quarter on a 9-0 run, Fezzi.
I thought it was just a lot of Jonathan Kuminga and Jimmy Butler, and the Warriors are still trying to adjust, trying to find guys that work well together right now. Without Steph Curry, this offense looks way different, and the Warriors are trying to find a way to stay alive.
I mean, Jimmy Butler was going to the basket and finishing, which is what helped them. And what also helped was that Minnesota was not playing well. Julius Randle went 1 of 6 in this quarter, and so that allowed the Warriors to be able to survive whatever Minnesota was doing while they were trying to figure out their offense themselves.
And then we get to the second quarter, Mully. Minnesota jumped out to a 10-point lead, 39-29, but the Dubs end the half on a 13-1 run. See Jimmy Butler driving there, attacking the rim. Another penetration of dish to Draymond Green for a layup. Warriors in the path with a 2-point lead.
Yeah, when you play without Steph Curry and his 30 points, it's advantageous to keep the game close. So how do you do that? You slow it down a little bit. You don't turn it over. The Timberwolves had 21 turnovers. The Warriors 15. The advantage of slowing the game down is you can control tempo, keep the game close. The disadvantage is you become very predictable. And in the fourth quarter, I think that wore on them physically. And I think that the Minnesota Timberwolves gained confidence on the individual matchups defensively. And Steve mentioned it, the second chance points. Yeah. Plus 12 for the T-Wolves. And a few of them with 3-point shots where they were a plus 9 on the 3-point shot. So we know those offensive rebounds, a lot of times they lead to wide open threes. Probably the dagger, Anthony Edwards in the corner there.
I mean, you're playing without Steph. You're not just missing 30 points, because there's a lot of things that happen in the flow of the game that you're also missing. One thing that you see every possession with Steph is a double team every time he steps across the floor. Matter of fact, he gets a triple team sometimes. That leaves guys open. And guys like Gary Payton II, like people like Brandon Pajemski, you can see the effect on them because they're so used to having to make plays off of Steph. Gary Payne's he's able to get the pick and roll with Steph, or playing the dunker and get those easy shots. So right now, the Warriors need to find ways to play off of the gravity of both Jonathan Kuminga and Jimmy Butler in the way that they're driving and attacking the paint.
And not only the gravity, the points, the confidence. The confidence of a Stephen Curry. You heard Jimmy Butler talk about the fact that Steph Curry's on the bench telling them exactly what's supposed to happen. But that feels very different to have your point guard say it from the bench versus being out there organizing you out on the floor. That was the main thing you saw, particularly in the first half and throughout this entire game. The Warriors felt a little discombobulated. Even when they were finding buckets, they were kind of like, ooh, that kind of worked. All right, we'll do that next time, maybe, you know?
They hired a new coach. They got a new coach in Steph.
You think about that. When Steph gets doubled at half court, he throws the ball ahead. That's an automatic closeout, and those guys are attacking a defense that's coming at them. A lot of times tonight, even when Jimmy did kick out, that next play was either a contested three, or now you're attacking off the dribble, where the Minnesota Timberwolves' length and athleticism is a factor on those driving shots. Even though it looks like you got a good shot, they're tough shots that are being contested.
According to reports, Stephen Curry will not be available possibly until Joe Lacob. He's on his seats looking, he's firing up, pumping his fist there, 11 of 18 and 3 of 4 from the three-point line.
Well, back-to-back, incredibly efficient offensive production by Jonathan. I thought he did a good job defensively tonight. I thought he read the game beautifully. But Bonte, Fezzi, and Zena, we're huge fans of his, right? But there's no coincidence, Bonte. Last game, 26 minutes. Tonight, 36 minutes. When he gets his time and he feels comfortable, not looking over his shoulder, he does perform.
We do have to appreciate that. There are some players that need a little bit more time to get rhythm. They need to get a feel for the game. And you saw Jonathan Kuminga understand how he can impact this game. Kuminga knew his athleticism, his bounce, his ability to just have swagger in the playing free and going up the court. He knew what he could bring to this game, and he had a little bit more time to express it on the court. And I just love that between Jimmy and Jonathan, you just saw a swagger show up offensively and defensively for the Warriors that had not been there in game one.
They couldn't guard JK tonight.
Nope.
All right. You saw 3 for 4 from the three-point line. That's what you want to give up. So from the three-point line, he's hitting. And offensively, you saw him go against Rudy Gobert. You saw him go against Naz Reid. You saw him go against Anthony Edwards. There's no matchup for Jonathan Kuminga when he's on offense. And so trying to find a way to get him into rhythm, it doesn't matter. He just got on the floor and he started. And this is after games of not playing. So if he was featured in the offense, just imagine what you could do with this level of athleticism. Him and Anthony Edwards are 2 of the best athletes on the floor. And you can see that for JK offensively and defensively, because you put him on one of the best players on the other team. He's also strong enough to handle some of the bigs. He's guarding Naz Reid. So he is a guy that has a lot of people befuddled. Like, why is he not in the game? Because he is one of the best athletes. But JK had a great game tonight. I thought he did a great job of trying to supplement Jimmy Butler in his points. They just got to find a way to play around both these two guys, because they're doing a lot of the scoring, and the whole team has to come together to really give you that Warriors-style basketball that has 30-plus assists in the game.
And I want to give Kuminga credit as well for playing a clean game. Right? It wasn't any mucks. There was only 2 turnovers. Yes, 1 turnover came at a pivotal time in the game, but overall, between these last 2 games, I think he only has 4 turnovers. That's major. That's huge. The amount of times that he has the ball in his hands, the amount of times that the whole offense is basically surrounding him and the defense is paying attention to him. At this point in the season, having not played, he's only turning